Like my little weirdos. I was not gonna do any more today. But this is, I mean, it's a sad, but it's perfect. Now, y'all have heard, I just made one myself, but others have also, um, that now that he put the tariffs, a 25% on Canada and Mexico, and then only 10 for China. China, as he says it. um, and I've got, yes, the camera's up higher because a few people have been like, oh, I like all the colors. It's so cool looking. So, that way you can listen to what I'm saying to you, but you don't have to look at me. So, yeah, I get it. Um, and by the way, that art, all of that is mine. Except the two little kitty ones that Chewy sent to me. That's Smudgy and Raspy. They actually sent them to me free. But anyway, back to the tariffs. So Canada said, "Fine, we're you got tariffs on you now." But I made a video, like I said, just earlier today, but that's so brilliantly they're targeting import products from red states, which is obviously his base. And they've said we want Americans to understand, it's for those of you who didn't support him, they've said this. It's not against you. It's a measure against your deranged president, which I get. I do get, guys. I understand. So they mentioned things like orange juice from Florida. I mentioned this. Bourbon, Kentucky. Bourbon and whiskey. All the products or service type things, like making something and sending it in those red states and not on ones that originate in blue states. Well, I just read Mexico's doing the same. Their tariffs that they're counter maneuvering, I hate to say retaliation, but because it wasn't retaliation. Now the returns are retaliation. But at any rate, yeah, Mexico's apparently going to be tailoring them also to be hitting the red states and as little blue states as possible on like key exports of the different red states. If this goes to any extended period, how much y'all want to bet some of them Republican voters are suddenly going to be wanting to go to the blue states because the economy will be better, even though we have the same federal government? Trump has decided that obviously he doesn't want anything for the federal government but departments that are working to grift for him or even for themselves afterwards. But the bases that have all you guys that voted for him, we all know, and everybody else knows where that information is. And I'll tell you what, if that does go for any extended time, enough where Republicans, now if there's Democrats, I know people in Kansas that are very dear to me, and it's like a tiny little blue speck in a sea of red. Now, if things get too tough, they may he may. But some of this shit's not going to be easily fixed by 4 years with just get it all back. Especially the trust of our supposed to be allies, of our God, used to be allies. But the fact that Mexico is also targeting product and service import from the red states and avoiding things that damage the blue states. So I can understand Democrats that are in red states eventually meandering over to the blue states. That's fine. You voted for that. That's cool. But if a lot of y'all Republicans start sweating in your red states because of that, you might not be too welcome in blue states, because you are the reason why we have blue states and red states this year. First time we've ever discussed things like that. It was either all of America or none. Now it's like just sections of it. How can you, cult or not see something wrong in that? This is a class war. It's gone from politics to a class war with politics. And like I've said in other videos, Republicans were whining and crying, oh, we need to unite. How about you unite with us instead of, oh, the Democrats need to just move on? You guys try to let somebody take this, like the last 4 years of democracy, from us. No. There's no just let's move on, forgive and forget. You acknowledge the responsibility like you did on January 7th. And you maintain that stance in genuine belief. Accept whatever consequences you get from that. And then we can move on. Otherwise, you're going to wind up getting the fight that you wanted. We don't want that. If push comes to shove, believe me, Democrats are very well suited, just as much as any of you, to getting in the ring, okay? We have to. We'd prefer not to take it on a thing, but y'all do it all the time. We'd also like to inform you that we too have guns, and we too are proficient with them. So I don't know what your stupid little lesion-riddled brains are still at. The entire planet is against your beliefs, not just the damn libs. Guys. And then you wonder why we say you're stupid. Really? Really? You don't have any idea why we said that when you were so recalcitrant to even just listening and looking at what we showed you. You just turned the channel. You wouldn't even do it. Or you do it and you're making all these trolly comments. This shit's happening because of you. Because of you. Everybody who went into that voting booth and cockily and arrogantly, oh, I'm gonna stick it to the libs, Trump. You're the ones who did this. Why aren't Democrats doing something? We have been. And Canada and Mexico is aware of it, obviously, that blue states have been screaming to you guys, to the other half of our fellow countrymen. Canada and Mexico know. So y'all should know by now. It's not just you damn libs. It's you against Us and the entire freaking world, people. Honestly, it's not political at all. Just political anymore. And you still are kicking and screaming. Why don't you start mobilizing? Reach out to your Republican Congress members. Tell them to impeach the bastard and dump JD, who's done nothing. You effed it up by the vote. Why don't you try fixing it? That's an interesting idea. You clean up your own mess for a change. Because it's not the rest of us, apparently, that are going to all suffer the same. Those countries are going to make sure the ones responsible, and hopefully only the ones responsible, are going to feel it the hardest. And quite frankly, it's not a gloat. That's very appropriate. I wish countries would do maneuvers like that more often when you have situations like us. We're part, I mean, America is very different, but y'all need to deal like that. When you've got somebody that's insane, arrogant, nepo baby, doesn't understand real life, doesn't care, narcissist, grifter, abuser, he's just a morally inept, morally bankrupt, emotionally inept and bankrupt, mentally corrupt and bankrupt, and you're still clinging on to him. Well, if it's not a cult, what other political party has ever done that with one candidate, one person? Who? Who else has ever been this attached to their political and then insist it's not a cult? It's a cult. You, because of your cult, have created this effing mess. You, with your vote, created this. How about you try to fix it? Thank you, Mexico. Well done. And Canada, I already gave you your props. Mexico, come here, can we talk? I lived next door to you for 32 years. Yeah, I lived in Tucson, Arizona, just like 2 hours from you all. From Nogales, Mexico / Nogales, Arizona. I've been there on a few day trips, excursions, decades ago. But it's awesome. And well, you can see, I love bright colors. So, and I always have. So when I got there and I saw their natural culture is this bright colors, it's like, oh. And I used to think Christmas in like the desert, like the type of stuff, the American Southwest and the Mexico area. I used to think, oh, it's just all a bunch of sand. And then once I lived there, so Mexico, thank you. Thank you for taking the brilliant maneuver and countermeasure to nail the people that are actually did this and doing it, and to help defray a little bit from those of us who not only didn't vote for him but fought against it and yelled. Do you know how much time this is not my job, okay? I don't have a sponsor, I don't have a boss, I don't get paid for making videos, okay? This is all my time, and it's not just doing the videos and getting them at least decent. It's all the time learning about what's going on, constantly. You know, I do that because I give a shit. And I don't have money to donate for others to do work. I don't have a vehicle. I can't do certain things. I've got a messed up foot. But I speak out. And it takes a lot of effort for those of us who have done that. Um, so I appreciate Canada and Mexico also um, having the compassion of and considering that it's only half of the country. The other half is suffering, and they have nothing to do with it. So thank you. And I love Mexican culture. It's freaking awesome. So, and Canada, in Canada, I visited you too when I was a junior in high school. Our choir went there for 2 weeks. We drove, we rode buses, long bus ride from New Jersey to, it was Montreal, Quebec. And I remember when we came in, it had rained. It was like rainy for, I don't know, weeks or something. And the day the Americans came in, they said it was the sun started. Yeah, and the day we went back, we're loading up on the bus, it was all overcast. And it was like, oh no. But that was when we had respect. And I remember that was when the on all the balconies everywhere you had these big banners that said once that would say it was either non or we. So I think somebody, I asked what that was about, and somebody said, y'all, somebody, they wanted to succeed or something, and it was, you were saying your stance. So cool. I guess I just want to say that not just because you're part of the Five Eyes, but and not just because you're our upstairs and downstairs neighbors, because I genuinely appreciate and understand the pride of each of your countries, at least to some degree. And I've also had the honor of at least seeing it, not seeing the entire thing, my God. Some of the things in jungles and stuff down in Mexico, oh my gosh, I would love to see. And some of those national parks in Canada, oh my goodness, Canada. You have some spectacular nature too. But I've been to both of you guys, and that's about the only other countries really I've been to other than mine. Mexico and Canada. Canada for 2 weeks. We did a lot of singing, concerts, things like that. But we got some time. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. A lot of hijinks. And like I said, Mexico I've been in more than once, like half a dozen times at least. In those years I lived there, where you're there all day, you know, and then you cross over and leave your car over in Nogales, Arizona, and then you just walk through, and there's like all these, I mean, you just walk through the outside markets and stuff. It's awesome. It's you really don't need your car if you're just doing a day thing. And like I said, the use, your love of color, Mexico. I hear you. Well, I hear you. I feel you. And you guys can see, Canada, I love nature. You might not have leopards, but so I really want to thank both Canada and Mexico for your compassion for us blue states. Thank you. Peace out, guys. God, I'm sorry.